Thank you for staying with us. This is still Sunrise, and the question I ask is, when shall we reach a time where every pregnancy is wanted? And I have a big question mark at the end of that question. We're talking about World Contraception Day now, and that day is celebrated every September 26th. That's tomorrow. So tomorrow is World Contraception Day.
And that question you asked, I think I have an answer.
Okay.
When you remove TRA from contraception, that will be World Conception Day. So, just
that's interesting.
Very. As I was saying, it is a day to create awareness among people about the benefits of family planning and the need to use various modern contraceptive methods while also promoting the reproductive health of the people and their individual rights to voluntary decisions and choices towards maintaining their reproductive health. Well, we have two doctors in the house who will be talking to us more about this. It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Taiwo Johnson, Director, Post-Pregnancy Family Planning. Good morning. And we also have Dr. Tunji Akintade, immediate past Chairman, Association of General Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria, Lagos chapter.
Good morning, ma.
Good morning.
Good morning, audience.
And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Why are we talking contraception? Dr. Johnson.
Well, so you see, the World Contraceptive Day, as you rightly said, is celebrated annually to create more awareness about contraception. And we're talking contraception because there's a lot of benefits about contraception. We can't even start talking about the economic benefits to Nigeria as a whole. So it's very critical at this time that contraception comes into the picture at this time of governance in Nigeria.
Now, Dr. Akintade, when is the best time to bring up the subject with our children? When is the correct time?
Well, thank you and good morning once again. I think that question is very relevant now. For male, we have it at their reproductive age as well as for female. And that age is between 14 and 49 for females and 15 and 50 for male.
So you start talking about contraception when they're 14.
You start talking about contraception when they're 14 because that's when they take a decision on their own. It's not contraception that we're talking, basically, it's their reproductive health. So they have a decision to make.
Reproductive health.
Yes, and they have to take a decision.
Zeroing in on contraception, because I was thinking, isn't that rather early?
It's not. It's not. Because you will, behind the curtain, you don't know what happened. And our statistics has shown that we are not getting it right. Our mortality rate is dropping at an alarming rate. I mean, when you want to look at our climb and compare it to the developed climb, you realize that more women are dying as a result of all these preventable things, from complications of pregnancy and abortion.
So when we talk about contraception, I can see the passion that Dr. Akintade is raising here, but let me come to Dr. Taiwo for a bit. So essentially, when we talk about contraception, since it's all about awareness today, what are we talking about?
We are talking about pregnancy by choice and not by chance. We are talking about women having access to quality and voluntary information and making her choice and decision about what to use and when to use it. We are talking about women having the children that they want to, and about a woman living a reproductive health life. We are talking about female empowerment. I mean, there are many benefits of contraception, which goes beyond family planning itself. We need to start looking at the other side, the benefits of family planning, even to, as I said, Nigeria as a whole. Family planning for the woman ensures that for women, reduces the fertility rate if adequately done. Let's look at the demographic dividends of contraceptive. What are the economic benefits? What are the social benefits? How would it influence change in a woman? We know that if a woman has the number of children she wants, she can go back to school, she can empower herself. And once more women enter the workforce, there's more productivity, even as a country. So there are lots of benefits of contraception, which this World Contraception Day aims to project and to create awareness about.
The challenge here for me is who is listening? Because you would agree with me that sometimes the conversation around contraception doesn't even come in where some cultures are concerned. Our cultural beliefs, our traditional practices, our religious, affinities and all of that. Those things definitely get in the way of this kind of message going out.
Yes, I agree with you. And now everybody's listening because now they know the benefits of contraception. Let's start with advocacy. A lot of work has been done on advocacy, even looking at the religious houses. We have in Nigeria now an Interfaith Forum, which is made up of religious bodies of all the different denominations. They've come together. They are looking at the religious perspectives of family planning. What does the Bible and the Quran say about family planning? We have those down. We have books that have been written that have shown that it is shown the various benefits of family planning. So everybody's listening about it. People know more about it. But the question is, what are we doing about it now? What are we doing about it now? We've created a lot of awareness. And when we look at when we started and where we are now, we've made a lot of progress, but a lot still needs to be done.
I think that at this point, we need to say specifically that Nigeria needs to listen to you guys.
Very well.
They say that there are 200 million of us now. And the talk out there is that we are edging towards being an overpopulated country. Which means we must start talking about our population now, which brings into great relevance what you're talking about now.
Very well. Well, let me emphasize here that it is not particularly geared towards reducing the population, because that's another angle that we met some challenges. That the essence of family planning is to come and reduce our population, no.
Which we need to do anyway, whether we admit it or not. I mean, let's stop playing the ostrich.
The truth about it is that you and I, we are setting up our family based on our economy. What is the size that we are repositioning? So it's just getting the appropriate size for appropriate hole, okay? And beyond that, we are growing. At the same time, we are losing the most important population that we're supposed to be preserving, the women. And that's why we must start talking about, and I'm glad when Dr. Johnson mentioned the issue of advocacy. The government has to put it into the policy, and there must be specific indicators to measure what we have been doing. For instance, when we started these statistics, we found that Rwanda was having 2,400, that's 2,400 deaths per 100,000 of their population. The same intervention we applied, they have reduced to about a little bit over 300 per 100,000 women dying.
From 2,400,
yes,
they're now at 300.
Because of advocacy, because of government intervention, because of the holistic participation of the citizen. But what do we have in Nigeria?
Don't answer that question.
No, we'd like to know our stats.
You're going to answer that question with this question.
Okay.
There is this belief, we reference religious angles the other time, that there are those who believe that male alone, it's plural.
As God gives, we take.
You know, and then there is something in Yoruba land, your people. They say you don't count children for the owner. I come off follow. Now, in that regard,
and in other places they call them God's bits of wood. You don't count them.
So, with these beliefs,
very interesting.
Exactly. With these beliefs, how do you take this conversation out and percolate it down to those people who may never be able to listen to the big English we are speaking here?
Thank you very much. I think I've said it at the beginning. We need to catch them young. We need to start getting the people that matters to start listening to it. Globally, we don't seem to have what other climes have in Nigeria. We have an indicators. We have a lot of policies in Nigeria packed up, stuck somewhere. How do we monitor this? If we start, even in the educational curriculum of the students, and it's there, you hide things away from children, that's what they go to look for. That's what they go to look for. In the mindset of our religions, like Dr. Johnson said, we have books that have been written by all these religions. We have the Christian, we have the Muslim books that have been, and there's a lot of advocacy going on. The question is, are we funding this project? Who are the people that are currently funding this project? When will the fund be there perpetually?
Dr. Johnson, in all of this, it seems that it is the woman that gets the brunt of it.
Sadly enough.
If we listen to all this advocacy and we actually practice, it will lead to a reduction in abortions, right?
Oh, definitely. Unsafe abortions.
Unsafe. Okay, there is safe abortion.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is safe abortion?
Okay, I'll tell you what unsafe abortion is.
Let's start from there.
We know that abortion is termination of pregnancy, right? But when it's unsafe is when it's done, when it's not done in a sterile environment and by a trained professional. That is when it's unsafe. And there are many reasons, as you said, that matter that a high number of children would lead to unsafe abortion because the woman doesn't want this pregnancy, but she doesn't have the means of she doesn't have the means to do so. And that is where we talk about missed opportunities. So for these women, are we giving them the right information? So that woman has 3 children or 4 that she can cater for, and then she now goes to have an unsafe abortion, because you know that abortion is not yet legal in Nigeria. So abortion is done under the pretense of going to either done by unethical professionals. That is why it's unsafe. And so to mitigate that, women have to plan for the number of children they want to have and have the information to do so voluntarily. And that is where we are aiming for as women.
I'm sure the men who are listening to you now are going to say, oh, women have to decide. Okay, so where do we come in, we the husbands?
Okay, yes, we need male involvement. It's very important. Very key right now where we are in Nigeria, male involvement, because you know we're in a patriarchal society, so we need that male involvement, and we need men to support their women in making a reproductive health choice. We need very critical.
Okay. Well, men should think about it, I would assume.
I've been thinking about that.
Okay. And it's still in the thinking level, still in the National Assembly. But let me come to you, Dr. Akitade. Something you said the other time in response to the question Alera asked you about how soon do we start to tell our people. And you said 14 and 15. Some mom is sitting somewhere now, some dad wondering. So I sit my 14-year-old down and I start to talk to him about sex or reproductive health, as you said. There is no way you talk about reproductive health.
Of course.
Well, it is.
So some would say maybe cultural, but in our climate, it's a little too early.
A war.
Honestly, I won't agree with you that it's early. I'll give you.
You are a professional.
Yeah.
The farmer is not.
Yes.
So getting them to see what you see, understand the way you do.
And that's where the advocacy.
And the iron one is not.
And that's where advocacy. You see, there is always a way out of this quagmire. If you can speak to your daughter, if you have created an impediment not to speak with your daughter, I know most men are closer to their daughters, then your wife should be able to speak to your daughters. But you need the conviction of the couple to understand that, look, we need to have this knowledge into the head of these children. Because they do a lot of things that we don't know. It's a social world. If you look into the phones of all these our daughters and sons, you'll be amazed about what they know. So the most important thing is not to hide that knowledge away and assume that they do not know. They do know, and we need to get that information out there. From what we've had, at least between the advent of COVID and now, social media is a very strong tool of knowledge, impaction, and all that.
I also think that there's a need for age-appropriate information. It's very critical.
Okay.
Because for actually from when a child is young, start talking reproductive health, your parts of your body, you're getting somewhere. You're telling your child your private parts and your good parts, and then you build it up every year. You add more information, and they are age-appropriate information. Even for family planning, it doesn't always have to start from family planning. It can start from what does my body tell me, puberty. You're building it up, and then when the child gets to that appropriate age, you start talking about sexual education, sexual rights, reproductive health rights. They need to know this.
Okay. Because if we don't tell them anyway,
tool.
Yes. They're going to
get it. Yes.
One way or another.
Internet is a very powerful tool, and something also peer-to-peer. What they don't get from you, they get from the internet, or they get from their friends.
Yeah.
Doctor, still on this same matter. In urban Nigeria, it's easier.
Yeah.
Internet of things and stuff like that.
In rural Nigeria,
it's culture first. It's religion first. It's our way of life first. How do we get this information to them? What do they need to know? There are quite a number of Nigerians are very, very traditional, because you will leave Lagos to go to your home state for certain festivities and all of that. What are the things we should be telling them? Because, the person you saw last year has suddenly grown old, but the next time you see the person the following year. So how do we get this information to them?
Okay, so for me, at that level, at the community level, a lot of advocacy and a lot has been done in advocacy. And when we talk about the youth and the young people, we know now in Nigeria we have a youth bulge, so we need to give them that information. So coming down to their level. I do also know that in schools there's a lot of family life and HIV education going on, a curriculum that interposes sexual education in some subjects. But also when we talk about youth, there are a lot of training our teachers, training the health workers, training the community leaders on how to appropriately address these youth and answer their questions. There's nothing like a youth coming to meet you and asking you a question and you're taken aback. So they need to be trained, capacity building, to provide appropriate answers. Because if you don't answer these children well, they would look for where to get the information. And I totally agree, the internet is not available, but then peer-to-peer is available. They learn from their teachers, people they look up to, and this is the time to start training them, build their capacity. There's a lot of training going on adolescent and youth sexual reproductive health. It's getting to the grassroots, but more needs to be done. This information can get there even without the internet.
Dr. Akitade, on the same matter.
Yeah.
You'll forgive me.
No, it's okay, it's fine, because I really want to add something to that as well.
Okay, add that quickly, because my question is a little different.
Okay, fine. You see, it's a global world now. Sometimes you realize that even the farmer has a way of communicating with the people in the real urban. You understand? How did they do this? And that's why we need to buttress this issue of peers to peers. We need to also, because all these documents that are there, the IUC materials that are there are also written in different languages. Yeah. You understand? So we need to get down to the grassroots. People in the rural settings, you will be amazed about what they know.
Oh, certainly. Certainly. In fact, there are cultural, there are traditional family planning methods and all of that. Those things are there. Yeah. But getting the information to them is another thing altogether. Now, my question is around the fact that while they're growing, 14, 15, and the rest of them that you talked about earlier, telling them these things does not mitigate or reduce the body development. You tell them something, the body is feeling different. Getting them to do different from what their body is telling them, how do you do that?
Well, let me start by saying that those days, probably the ladies in the house will tell us that their period starts around 18, 19. I have had to deliver a girl, 12-year-old, because of these challenges that we're talking about. She got pregnant at 11 and she delivered when she was 12.
Ouch.
That is the good, the challenge. I mean, we didn't have any more challenge because she's huge.
Well developed.
When, if she has a contracted pelvis, we're going to be talking about something different. So while we are talking to them concerning their period that started coming 10, 11, and all that, where we are putting, and that's why Dr. Johnson mentioned appropriate information for age. You understand? We don't tell them, go and have husband, go and bring husband. No. What we tell them is that when you do this, appropriate information. We have to begin. You don't say when man touch you, you will get pregnant. That's not.
That's what they used to tell us. That's what they told us. So we ran away from even our brothers when we were in our periods.
Brother, when you sit in class, you put something.
Yes.
So we give them appropriate information. You understand? And you will give this appropriate, and that's where the advocacy, the government have to come in. It has to be, because it has a direct effect on our economy. And that's why the government has to come in on this advocacy. The partners that are giving us this advice, they are not going to be here perpetually. So we must talk about how to hone the project and make it sustainable.
No.
So
which brings me to how much is the government supporting this advocacy?
Well, thank God I'm not government. So,
no, but you are in it, so you will know how much support is coming.
Part of the advocacy is that we should get government to own these projects,
which they haven't done.
Which they have not done. Yet. They are participating. The ministry is participating, but how much of funding are they putting into this, and how much of collaboration are they having with the private sector? Because private sector have contributed and they have shown over a period of time that they can actually be part of the health system. Over 65% of service delivery of health are being provided by the private sector. So they are also very, very important when we walk through them.
What percentage again?
Over 65% of service delivery, health service delivery are given by the private sector. It could be higher in some states. Okay, so these sectors are also very, very important. So there is a total engagement that we're talking about.
Okay. All right. Well, you wanted to say something?
Yes. So I'm going to say that for adolescents and youth, we don't actually talk about family planning because they don't have families to plan. We actually talk about life planning, where they are taught negotiation skills and various skills. Because as you said, this child is coming to meet you. Maybe she's pregnant, or how does she resist? And so we teach them, they are being taught negotiation skills and how to make better use of their life skills and all of that. So it's very critical that it's life planning for adolescents and youths, not family. They don't have family plan. They don't have families.
But one other thing that I think is relevant here, ladies and gentlemen, is that, the language of talking to young people today is a lot different. When Alera was growing up, the language was that of fear. If you do this, this will happen to you. If you touch a guy, you get pregnant. Is that not what you want?
Don't go near any man once your period starts. You will get pregnant if a man touches you. So of course you didn't even allow your brother touch. Those were the kinds of things that we were told.
Okay, well, if you can just speak to that very, very quickly, because there are parents listening also. In what ways should parents be talking to their young ones?
That word has been used there, and that is appropriate information. Appropriate information. How do they get pregnant? How do you protect yourself from being pregnant? How do you keep yourself? How do you keep the hygiene? And that's why we said we're talking about reproductive health. Because if you get it wrong at that point, even from your period, not even somebody touching you, you realize that you may be infertile.
Okay.
Okay, so for me, talking to the adolescents and the youth, you have to start talking to them about, stopping your education, going to school, getting an education, making something good about yourself. If you get pregnant, you have to stay back from school and have your baby and take care of babies. And then how would you empower yourself?
Okay.
And how do you make sure you make the best use of your life?
Okay.
Choices.
So, of course, it's all about you shouldn't get pregnant at all until you want the baby.
And you can take care of the baby.
That's what this is all about.
Well, absolutely.
Knowledge,
Is
talk,
power.
and go.
Knowledge is power. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Where pregnancy is wanted. We've been chatting with two doctors, Dr. Taiwo Johnson, Director, Post-Pregnancy Family Planning, as well as Dr. Tunji Akintade, immediate past Chairman, Association of General Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria. Thank you very much, gentleman.
And lady.
Thank you very much, lady
Before.
and gentleman.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I agree with you. Thank you very much.
World Contraception Day. Please, just go ahead.
Sunrise will return in just a moment with another interesting conversation. Please join us.